Hey guys, it's time for chapter 14. She finally got Connor to come over to her house, even though he won't eat there. And they also were talking more about solving the mystery. Chapter 14. My parents weren't in the apartment when Connor and I got there. You want a snack? I asked him as we entered the tiny kitchen. No thanks, he said. I'm not really hungry. How can you not be hungry when you didn't even eat lunch? I'm just not, he said. Fine. I opened a lower cabinet with my foot and took out a bag of pretzels. You want a soda? I asked. No, he said. I sighed and hoped he didn't die of dehydration. It was still in the 90s outside. We made our way to the small living room where Connor spotted my guitar in the corner. Is that your guitar? Yep, I said, opening the TV cabinet with my foot. Will you play for me? I can't wait to see you play with your feet, Connor said. Maybe another day. I'm kind of out of practice right now. That wasn't exactly true. I felt shy about it, like I needed to prepare him before I needed to prepare before I performed for him. If I ever would perform for him, I still hadn't made up my mind. Promise, Connor said. I'll play for you sometime, just not right now. Connor turned his attention to the row of video games in the cabinet. You have some good ones in here, he said, thumbing through them. My dad likes to play. They're mostly his games. Your dad's cool, Connor said, clearly impressed by my dad's immaturity. He pulled out an ultraviolet war game. Let's play this. I shook my head. Not allowed. For Dad only. Connor frowned, put the game back in the cabinet, and pulled out another game I wasn't allowed to play. I'm not allowed to play any game with a disclaimer on the cover, I said. I walked to the cabinet and pulled out a racing game. Let's play this one. I guess. Connor let out a dramatic sigh, clearly disappointed we wouldn't get to battle each other to our bloody virtual deaths. I'm better at games when I can use the joystick, I said, as Connor slipped the disc into the console. That's good, because you'll need every advantage to beat me, he said. We played for a couple of hours. I don't think Connor expected me to be such a good player. Yeah, he did beat me a lot, but I gave him a good fight and even won a couple of races myself. I think I played worse than normal because Connor ticked a lot while he played, and it distracted me. I guess the tics were probably made it harder for him to play as well. I thought about him at home playing video games all night by himself, ticking badly. Maybe it wasn't good for him to spend all his free time doing that. I felt like I was starting to understand Connor's tics, what made them worse and what made them better. Definitely when Connor was stressed or excited about anything, his tics got worse. When he felt calm and comfortable, they weren't so bad. I guess video games got him worked up. Mom walked in the door just as we were putting the games away. You absolutely would not believe what Bob did now, she said as she threw her hat down on the kitchen table. I looked at Connor and whispered, in a Dracula accent for some reason, murdered someone. He giggled. She walked into the living room and saw Connor. This must be Connor, she said. She reached out her hand to shake with his. Nice to meet you, Mrs. Green, Connor said softly. I could tell he was trying to hold his tics in. Nice to meet you too, Mom said. Connor let out a loud bark and Mom jumped back. Oh my, she giggled. That was interesting. Connor has Tourette's syndrome, I reminded her. Oh, she said, that's right. Don't look so nervous, honey. Mom touched Connor's arm to put him at ease. It will only make your tics worse. I looked at her in surprise. Mom, you know about Tourette's? She gave me an annoyed look. Avon, I was a psych major in college. Of course I know about Tourette's. You were a psych major in college? I said. What's that? She sighed and rolled her eyes. Psychology. Don't you ever listen when I talk? No, I joked, because you usually just talk about boring old people stuff. Mom grabbed me and ran her knuckles over my head, messing up my hair. Ouch! I cried, wriggling away from her. All right, I'm going to get dinner started. Will you two do me a favor and run over to the gold mine and fire Bob? I smiled, but Connor looked grave. Thank you, Mrs. Green, but I'm not staying for dinner. Yes, you are, I said. Your mom's working. What are you going to eat for dinner if you don't eat with us? Connor froze up, like he had no idea what to say to that. I'll eat cereal, he said. He could barely get the words out from his ticking. That's unacceptable, Mom said. You're eating with us. Then I'll take you home after dinner since your mom's working. Connor appeared absolutely terrified at the thought. No, really, I like cereal, he said. Why won't you eat, Connor? I asked. Are you anorexic? He seemed to relax a little at that and laughed. No, I'm not anorexic, I just... What? I nearly shouted. I'm your friend, Connor. Tell me. Sometimes I spit when I eat. Connor's cheeks were bright red as he shrugged and blinked his eyes rapidly. I spit food at people. Mom gave Connor an understanding smile. That's not uncommon, she said. We'll all wear rain gear at dinner tonight. And with that, she opened a cabinet and started pulling out potatoes. Connor looked at me. I hope you have face masks too. I kicked at his shoe. See, it's no big deal. We know you can't help it. Connor's expression changed. I wish my parents were as understanding as yours. It got to the point at home that neither one of them wanted to eat with me anymore. My dad would yell at me for spitting, and that would make it worse. He tugged at his hair. Now I just eat in my room by myself. My mom's hardly ever around, so it doesn't matter anyway. It matters, I said emphatically. It matters a lot. As we were sitting down at the table for dinner, Dad walked in. I think that old llama might have to be put down, he said sadly, shoulders slumped. My head shot up. What? No, not spaghetti, I cried. Mom and Dad both gave me a funny look. I shrugged. We have a special connection. I looked at Connor. We're X-Men, I added softly. I'm sorry, honey, Dad said. He's so old. He's like 22 years old. Denise said he's hardly eaten in 2 days. And that thing growing out of his head, well, it can't be comfortable. I'll nurse him back to health, I insisted. I'm not sure that's possible at his age, Dad said. Anyway, we can talk about it later. The vet's coming tomorrow, and we'll see how he does over the next few days. By the time we all sat down at the table together, I didn't have much appetite. I kept thinking about poor Spaghetti not being able to eat. I looked at Connor. I could tell he was hesitant to take a bite of his pork chop. It's okay, Connor, Dad said. We're all prepared. Dad lifted something off his lap. Ski goggles. He slipped them over his eyes. No worries. That's pretty funny. The dad's putting goggles on to protect from Connor's spitting. David, Mom cried, punching Dad in the arm. That's terrible. Connor laughed, though. It seemed to put him at ease, and he finally took a bite of his mashed potatoes. Don't worry, Mom said. Everything is non-staining. I glared at Dad. All the things we had to get rid of, and you brought ski goggles to Arizona. These were like $80, he defended himself. And we're going to stop there for today. So tomorrow I'll finish chapter 14. Bye, guys.